والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. As we continue in these books, because we tried our best in order to complete what we started, as I really do not like habitually to start something and not finish it. So for that reason, we continue in the chapters until bi'idhnillah jalla wa az we finish, so it could be something in which we complete. But like I said, habitually I do not like to start something and then to be cut, and then it would not be completed. Rather, it's something of, as they say, something that is of a person's gift, and then it's likewise at the same time, they say, for lack of better words, a curse, but it's not. But it bothers me when something is not completed. It's like it's on my mind, it lingers. So it has to be done and focused on until it's completed and finalized. So we started Bulugh al-Maram ya Ma'ish al-Ikhwa. And as we know, this will be the third day of Ramadan already in a couple of hours. So you see, bi'idhnillah jalla wa az, how the time is passing by very, very fast and very quickly. So that reason we stopped at the hadith in Bulugh al-Maram. If you look in your books, the person who had his book, share with the other people. And this is the thing I'm trying to have the community here acclimated to bringing books to class. Bringing a books, which is, alhamdulillah, you see some progress from the brothers. But also we want our people to start, bi'idhnillah jalla wa az, and our sisters to bring their books to class. That's very important. Because this class is to get people used to books and keeping their information, their books, and when they need it, it's there. So they could go back to it, and it'll be something in their library where they can utilize for when they need it. So we started, ya Ma'ish al-Ikhwa, and we completed the hadith in regards to the prohibition of what they call wisal. Because that was the hadith and where we stopped at. Where the Messenger of Allah ﷺ consecutively fasted more than one day without breaking it. We said that the qawl rajih, or the strongest opinion in that regard, is that it's impermissible. We said that this matter is impermissible, and there was one exception to the rule. Due to the hadith Hadith al-Bukhari, that we said, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned it, فَلَا تُوَاصِلُوا. There's a narration where it says, لَا تُوَاصِلُوا. Do not consecutively fast without breaking it. He said, فَإِذَا أَرَادَ أَحَدُكُمْ يُوَاصِلْ فَلْيُوَاصِلْ إِلَى السَّحَرِ, which a hadith is in al-Bukhari. The Prophet ﷺ also mentioned it, but he gave an exception. First he said in the narration, لَا تُوَاصِلُوا. Do not consecutively fast without breaking it. But then the Messenger of Allah ﷺ gave an exception where he said, if one of you wanted to continue, then let it only continue up to a sahar, up to the time of the fajr, of the time of Salat al-Fajr. That was the only exception. But the initial affair is that one should not practice what they call wisal. Wisal is when one consecutively fasts without fasting. And you'll find that a lot of Ahl-Ilm was on the opinion, you'll find from what? Some of Ahl-Ilm in the past mentioned, it said it's actually muharram. It's actually unlawful to perform this type of fast, which is called wisal, which is to consecutively fast without breaking it. Meaning you're fasting today, then the next day you just continue. Without what? Without any iftar, without breaking it after Maghrib, or even eating sahur, which is the pre-dawn meal before Fajr. Meaning continuing. We said that affair is what? That the origin of it is that one should not practice it and do it. Rather, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, you'll find in the narration, if you look in your books, ask one of the brothers, because I don't know which copy, due to the fact that it's in English. Brothers, just ask. Because I think he has the same copy. Here's the same copy. Share with one of the brothers in the books who have a book. Page 231. Share with one of the brothers in the books. You don't have your book, share. Share with one of the brothers. That's all. طيب, so that was the hadith that we finished, right everyone? subhanAllah. And we also completed the hadith where the Messenger of Allah also mentioned so in the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من لم يدع قول الزور والعمل به والجهل فليس لله حاجة في أن يضع طعامه وشرابه. We also took the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu where the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, whoever doesn't leave off statements of evil and actions of evil while he's fasting, and also what they call jahl, the meaning of it we talked about is not lack of knowledge. Rather, it means lack of what they call adam al-hilm, was the lack of being forbearing, meaning acting in a very, very unacceptable, vile, if you want to say, for lack of better words, in a very demeaning or very vile, unacceptable manner in regards to one's statements and actions, which is called, or the meaning of jahl is, as we explained last class, right, everyone? We said jahl as far as verbally and physically. For verily, the test of a lot of people who are fasting is not in they eating or leaving off food and drink. Like we talked about last lesson, from the categories of what breaks one's fast, as we said, number one was what they call what everyone? Al-mufattirat al-hissiyya, and you have al-mufattirat al-ma'nawiyya. You have the first category, what breaks your fast, is what they call al-mufattirat al-ma'nawiyya. Al-mufattirat al-ma'nawiyya, meaning those affairs that affect your fast and diminish its reward to the point as if you didn't fast. Whether it be, like we said, in regards to verbal statements, which is using obscene behavior, or lying, or becoming extremely upset, or using, or argumentation, or disputation, or insulting someone, or cursing someone, or using something of some type of behavior where it's backbiting or carrying tales or lying or deceiving or deceit or trickery or treachery. All those things affect your siyam. Every single last one of them. All those major sins affect your siyam. Or whether it be speaking to a girl or speaking to your girlfriend or what have you, all that affects your siyam. All those affairs are acts of evil which the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had constantly highly emphasized that what? That one should leave off, especially while he's fasting and outside the month of Ramadan. Because, like we talked about before, Ramadan is a school in order to what? Have you acclimated to obedience of Allah after the month is over. That's the reason why one should highly abstain, especially in this month, from those type of acts in order that you will continue upon that uprightness after the month is over. So, verbal acts, verbal speech, or obscene speech, or those type of behavior, like we said, can affect the fast to the point as if one did not fast in the first place. So, when one is fasting, as we know the hadith or the narration of Jabir ibn Abdullah, where Jabir ibn Abdullah said in that narration, what he says was one narration of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and there's one narration of Jabir ibn Abdullah. But anyway, Jabir ibn Abdullah mentioned, and this is collected in Musannaf ibn Abi Shaybah, the great Sahabi, Jabir ibn Abdullah, فإذا صمت فليصم سمعك وبصرك ولسانك عن المحارم والكذب وداع ذا الخادم وليكن يوم صومك عليك السكينة ووقار ولا يجعل صيام يومك وفطرك سواء. To the end of the narration, Jabir ibn Abdullah said in the narration, he says فإذا صمت فليصم سمعك وبصرك ولسانك عن المحارم والكذب ودع أذى الخادم. And this narration collected in Ibn Abi Shaybah in his Musannaf, where Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhu, he said, if you fast, then let your eyes fast and your tongue fast and your ear fast. Meaning your tongue from saying speech that will what? That will infringe upon the tremendous reward of your fast. Whether it be arguing with someone, or become upset with someone, and going back and being confrontational with someone, no matter who it is. Or cursing someone, or insulting someone, all these affairs will affect your fast. He says, إِذَا صُمْتَ فَلْيَصُمْ سَمْعُكَ وَبَصْرُكَ وَلِسَانُكَ. That your tongue fast, your ears fast, and your eyes fast. Meaning that you protect all these parts of your body from anything unlawful. That Allah Ta'ala is what? Legislated, or what He Ta'ala has prohibited in His legislation, Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? because those are from the category that we said is called al-mufattirat al-ma'nawiyah. Those affairs that break the fast, that is ma'nawi. It's intangible, meaning you do not see it, but it's there and it will affect your fast. Your father, Ahl Ilm, mentioned and said that it does not necessitate if one was to do it, that khalas, he's done. You finish, you broke your fast, that means you can eat and drink for the rest of your day. No, that's not what is intended when they say it breaks your fast here. That's not what is intended. What they're saying is that it diminishes the reward to the point as if you did not fast. It diminishes it until the point as if you did not fast. So, with one, while he's fasting, what is the test? Where it usually comes for people who are fasting, especially here in this country, where people love argumentation, they love bickering, they love to go back and forth, and they love niza'at, or what they call mushajarat, where they love disputation, they just love to argue and bicker, especially here in this place. Then one should try to say what Jabir ibn Abdullah said in the narration. He said, while you are fasting, on the day while you're fasting, let you be serene and tranquil. He said, فَلْيَكُنْ عَلَيْكَ سَكِينَةٌ وَوَقَارٌ. Let you be happy, have serenity, and have that tranquility while you're fasting. And leave off with da'at al-khadim, as it says in the narration. He said, leave off the harm of the person who's servicing you, no matter who it is. From your brother, your sister, your family, whoever it is. For verily, shaitan wants to do everything he can in order to what? Make you lose out on something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made as a chance for you to take advantage of as far as in a tremendous reward that will raise you in degree, especially in this month. So we say, Ya ma'ish al-ikhwa, he says, وَدَعَدَ الْخَادِمِ. He says, and let it be, you be tranquil, serene, and do not make the day, when you fast, and the day that you break your fast, do not make those days equal. Rather, one, while he's fasting, do his best in order to what? Protect it. Not only just in food and drink, in the meaning of food and drink, but even in your behavior, and your etiquette, and your morals, and your character. To maintain your etiquette and your honor about yourself, firstly, then honor for your brothers and your sisters around you. So we said, Ya ma'ish al-ikhwa, that narration is in regards to that type of what? Mufattirat al-ma'nawiyah. Those affairs that diminish the reward to the point is as if you didn't break your fast, as if you did not fast, or as if you didn't attain no reward at all. So the next narration, if you look in your books, when يثارب عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقبل وهو صائم ويباشر وهو صائم ولكنه أملككم لإربه. الحديث is in Bukhari and Muslim واللفظ مسلم وزاد في رواية في رمضان. when يثارب عائشة رضي الله عنها, that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم that he mentioned said, that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم that he used to kiss his family or his wife while he was fasting. He will also fondle with her while he was fasting. However, he was the most controlling of amongst you, or the controlling of you, in his desires. For the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is an indication to show what is also lawful, or the adab for the one who is fasting, or what he can do in regards to his spouse while he's fasting. Which is to show how comprehensive our religion is and how many details it gives, to the point where it gives instructions to know what we can do, because this affair that happens to especially our families, one needs to know what he can do, what he cannot do in regards to what? His spouse. So here you find that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he used to fondle with his family, with his wives, while he was fasting. The meaning of mubashara here is to touch one's skin directly, without nothing covering it. That's the meaning of the word mubashara, or one of the meanings. Here the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to touch his wives, and he used to fondle with them while he was fasting. He used to kiss them while he was fasting. However, it explains in the last part of the narration, if you look in your books, said that he was the most controlling of you and his desires. Meaning that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not used to fear from the uprising of his desires, where they would take him over, where it would lead down a road of what? Something that was unlawful. So when it's said here, this condition, this is the point. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of course, didn't fear from the uprising of his desires of it overtaking him or taking him over until something happened where it was something unlawful which emanated. Rather, You'll find here in this narration it indicates that a person can fondle with his wife while he's fasting, with a condition. He can fondle with his wife, he can hug her, he can kiss her with a condition, as we'll talk about in a second. He can kiss her. Especially if he knows, if a man knows in himself that it does not arouse his desires. But if it arouses his desires in this instant, or in this particular state, it's not permissible. If it arouses his desires, rather he should stay away from it. Especially if it's going to be a means for him to fall into something, what everyone? Something evil. So, basically you'll find, just to sum it up, you'll find that Ahl Ilm say for those from the Shabab, or those who are in their youth, or in the prime of their youth, or in the prime, or the stages of their youth, where their desires are still extremely strong, then they should abstain from this particular affair. They should abstain from this matter. And if he have fear that he's going to fall into something, whereas the actual sperm is going to come out, or is going to initiate, where it will be released, then of course we know in that instance, that will invalidate and nullify one's fast. I noticed I said what? What did I say, everyone? I said sperm, right, everyone? If it's pre-seminal discharge, what did we say in class last time? Does pre-seminal discharge invalidate the fast? What did we say? No. Pre-seminal discharge does not invalidate the fast. Pre-seminal. But still, one should not take a risk taking a risk where it would lead him down the road, where as if to the point where semen will be actually released. But however, what is the strongest opinion is that pre-seminal discharge, what we say in the street, what they say, pre-cum, it does not break the fast. Understand, everyone? But however, like we said, in regards to the one who's young and youthful, and he feels his desires are strong to the point where if he was to fondle with his wife, that it would take him down a road where sperm would be released, it's incumbent upon him to stay away from it. But if he feels that he's one that can control his desires, of course, and he wants to play and fondle with his wife while he's fasting, and he knows that his desires will not overtake him, then it's no problem, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. Especially in regards to a person, like we said, is older or elderly. Usually when a person becomes a little bit more up in age, their desires have become more settled, and he's a little bit more relaxed, and his mind is a little bit more, we would say it's a little bit more mature and more wiser. That's what a person is supposed to be in the state where he reaches a certain point in age in his life, where he's able to now be more focused, more wise, and more calm, and more tranquil, especially in the affairs of his desires. But the shabab, as we know, in regards to when one is youthful, then of course, as we talked about before, that is the stage where it is the test, especially for one's desires, especially in the age where he's what they call marhalat al-shabab, in his youthful age. So he said it's permissible for the person who doesn't fear that he's going to fall into something, especially for a person that's a little bit more older and wiser. So a person that is what they call a Shaykh al-Kabir, or a person that's a little bit more mature, then he can, of course, can engage or indulge in this matter. But in regards to a person where his desires are strong, and he feels more than likely it's going to take him over, then he should abstain from it. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So in regards to this hadith, we said, Ya ma'ash al-ikhwan, that the message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you even find a great imam that said exactly what I said, Shaykh Salih Fawzan. He says, you'll find the fuqaha say, يُرَخَّصُ فِي الْقُبْلَةِ لِشَيْخٍ يعني كبير السن وينهى عنها للشاب يعني الشاب مظنة قوة الشهوة وثورانها. You find that Ahl Ilm say that it's allowed for a person who's elderly, but it's prohibited for a person who's youthful, due to the fact where it was expected that more than like his desires would be very strong and he would be tempted. So in that case, he should what? Abstain from it. But if a person just thinks that he's not going to fall into something, then of course, then that person can do this while he's fasting. The next hadith that we finished, we concluded, which I didn't want to get inside because it's a big masala, a big affair that has a lot of different opinion in it, is in regards to the hijama. But like I said, you'll find a lot of Ahl Ilm, from them is Shaykh Abdul-Aziz bin Baz, and from them is Shaykh Uthaymeen, and from them is Shaykh Salih Fawzan, and other than that from Ahl Ilm, from them is Shaykh Muhammad Ibrahim Ali Shaykh, Muhammad bin Ibrahim al-Shaykh likewise, and a lot of the ulama of Najd, they say that the hijama of cupping, it does break one's fast. Right, everyone? We said that cupping does break the fast. Cupping. That's the next hadith if you look in your book. If you look in your books, it's talking about cupping. Then it talks about how his fast is broken if he indulges in being cupped and the person is doing it. Then there's another narration saying something else. But that which we concluded, and we just drawn up and gave the strongest opinion, like we said, this is the opinion of Sheikh Salih Fawzan. You'll find it's also the opinion of Sheikh Muhammad Salih al-Uthaymeen. You also find this from the opinion of Sheikh Abdul-Aziz bin Baz. You also find it from his Sheikh, Sheikh Abdul-Aziz Sheikh, who is Sheikh Muhammad Ibrahim Ali Sheikh. And other than them from the ulama that say that the hijama of cupping, it does break the fast. It does break the fast. Even though there's a big khilaf in it, and as they say, المسألة في هذه أو المسألة هذه تتجاذب فيها الأدلة بين الطرفين. يعني الأدلة التي بين الطرفين قوية جدا متجاذبة. So the affair, like we said, is very strong, and its khilaf is very strong to the point where both sides are pulling each other. This affair is very, very, trust me, I've read it and it gave me a headache at one time. To the point, like we said, if you look to what Ahl Ilm mentioned, it says, for what I lean towards is what Sheikh Uthaymeen says, Sheikh Salih Fawzan says, Sheikh Abdul Aziz says, and other than them, that the hijama does break the fast. Due to the fact that there's a lot of blood being removed from the body at one time, and blood is the source of one's what? Strengthen his body. And once that removes, it causes severe weakness, which comes as a result of it. One will what? Loses his fast, similar to the woman who what? Has her mens. And soon as a woman breaks her, one of the reasons why a woman breaks her fast, or why she's supposed to break her fast, is because of her what? Her mens. Due to the fact that the mens, a lot of blood comes out, which comes as a result of it, it's obligatory upon her to what? Break her fast. So you'll find that Ahl Ilm say that likewise cupping has a similarity to that. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So now we can move on to the next hadith. The next hadith, يا معشر الإخوة, اليثار عائشة. تفضل. We'll talk to you later. I'll give you what it means later. Don't worry, I got you. The next hadith, يا معشر الإخوة, ليثار عائشة رضي الله عنها, that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم اكتحل في رمضان وهو صائم. رواه ابن ماجه بإسناد الضعيف. قال الترمذي لا يصح في هذا الباب شيء. ليثار عائشة, that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم, that he used kuhl in Ramadan. What's kuhl? I think everybody knows what cool is, right? They spell it K-O-H-L. I think it's spelled cool. The black, it looks like, it's not mascara, it's just a black type of, like that, which is kind of, they put it around the eyes usually. During the time of the Message of Allah, it was used in order to cure some type of ailment in the eyes or vision. Until it was used also likewise for women for some type of beautification or decoration. Or if a woman wanted to adorn herself or to embellish herself out of trying to please her husband, they used to put it around their eyes and it would make them a little bit more what? Enhanced as far as in the beauty. That's what kuhl is. Is it permissible for one to use it during the month of Ramadan or not? What did we say? We said that it is permissible for one to use, even though some Ahl Ilm say it is detested. It is detested, but it's not haram. But you'll find that Ahl Ilm, even the Shaykh Uthaymeen mentions, it says the same thing. There's no problem with that due to the fact there's no dalil, there's no concrete evidence proven and establishing that this affair is unlawful. Until there's a dalil showing otherwise, then the affair remains upon its origin, which is al-ibaha. Because we know that the origin in mu'amalat, the origin in regards to dealings, that everything is what? Halal. Everything is upon what is lawful until there's a dalil that proves otherwise. Once a dalil is established, then of course, then that lays down the affair and clarifies everything. So that affair remains upon its origin until there's a dalil or proof and evidence establishing that it's unlawful for one to practice it or indulge in it. Right, everyone? That's what we mentioned in the last class about kuhl. طيب. The next hadith that we also took on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is where we stopped at. The Messenger of Allah said, "Man nasiya wa huwa sa'im fa'akala aw sharib falyutimma sawma, fa'inma at'amahu Allah saqah." Whoever forgets while he's fasting and he eats and drinks, let him complete his fast. For verily Allah gave him Verily Allah gave him food and gave him what? Gave him drink. If you look in your books, there's another narration where it says, وَالْحَاكِمْ مَنْ أَفْطَرَ فِي رَمَضَانَ نَاسِيًا فَلَا قَضَاءَ عَلَيْهِ وَلَا كَفَّارَةٍ. There's another narration where it says, whoever broke his fast in Ramadan out of forgetfulness, then he does not have to make it up, nor is there any expiation. وَهُوَ صَحِيح. طيب, we talked about this last class. We said, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, regards to a person now, let's just say, he goes home, he forgets while he's fasting. And it does happen. People think, how can one forget while he's fasting? It happens. It happened to me a couple of times. For a person now, and I said this last class, I gave an example. For a person now is to go home, went to sleep, woke up, he started eating a hamburger. Got up, he woke up, grabbed, not only did he eat one hamburger, he ate two hamburgers. Let's just say, for example, ate two hamburgers, put some ketchup and mustard on it, ate some hamburgers, wolfed down both of them. I was hungry. I don't know why, I was so hungry today. He forget he's fasting. His wife comes in and said, "Yeah, you forget you're fasting?" "Oh, I was fasting." So now what does we say? He broke his fast or what? Totally oblivious that he's fasting. Totally oblivious. Does he break his fast? Did he break his fast? I'm talking about in a state of absolute heedlessness. He's totally oblivious. We said that person what? Completes his fast. He'll still complete his what? His fast. No matter how much food he's consumed, as long as he is in a state of forgetfulness, to the point where we said the three conditions last class, what they were, everyone, in regards to what is very, very important in regards to what comes up in all these different masail we've been covering. These different matters, three things is always important to look at. What was those three things? What did we say? Number one is what? Having knowledge. Having knowledge. So the opposite is what? What's the opposite of knowledge? Jahil. He's ignorant of what? Two things. What did we say? The ruling or the time. Jahil bil waqt, jahil bil hukum. Ignorant of the what? Of the time, or ignorant of the ruling. So if a person is ignorant of those affairs and he did not know, then you'll find that person is excused. Whether it be time or whether it be what? Or the ruling. The time, we'll give numerous examples that's going to come up. As far as the hukum, we gave examples of that. Right, everyone? In regards to what happened with Asma binti Abi Bakr, Siddiq. Right, everyone? We gave that example. What we said during the time of the Messenger of Allah that they said, أفطرنا في عهد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في يوم غيم ثم طلعت الشمس ولم نؤمر بالقضاء. As it comes in the narration, that she says, we broke our fast in the time of the Messenger of Allah. She says, in a cloudy day, where they thought in their mind that the sun had actually what? Went down. She said, then the sun came out. In that narration, you'll notice that they were not commanded to what? To make up the fast. Why? Because they really thought in their mind, 100%, for sure that the sun was what? Down. That's what they thought. Until when the sun, when it reappeared, then what? Notice the Messenger of Allah did not command them to make up the fast due to them being ignorant of what, everyone? The waqt of the time. Jahil bil waqt. Jahil bil waqt. As far as in the hukum, as far as in the ruling, that happened during the time what happened to Adi ibn Hatim radiyallahu anhu. Adi ibn Hatim, where he took the white needle or the white thread and the black thread, and he tied it around his legs until he was trying to see in what time the Fajr will actually come, or the time from when he starts to fast, based upon looking at a white thread from a black thread. And we kept seeing, he kept pondering on it until he went to the Messenger of Allah and said, I did not see the actual clarity between the white needle, between the black needle and the white needle. Until the Messenger of Allah said, Inna qafa'ika idhan la'arid. He said in another narration, it says, Inna wisadaka idhan la'arid. To the Messenger of Allah said to Adi ibn Hatim, He says, verily, and one narration says, your pillow must be very wide. Being it because what the Messenger of Allah was talking about was what? The distance of the east and the west in regards to the night and the day. So that was the meaning that was intended in the ayah. The point of why I mention this, because of what everyone, what do we say? He was ignorant of what? The hukum, not the time. The hukum. Not the time, the hukum, the ruling. He was ignorant of the ruling. To the point where the Messenger of Allah did not command him to what? He didn't command him to break up make the fast up. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? طيب. The second condition that we mentioned was what, everyone? This is what the hadith says here. The second condition, which is being in a state of remembrance. Hal al-dhikr. The state of remembrance. So that is what this narration is in regards to. If you want to write it down, you can put that's the second condition of what? Of one's fasting, which is dhikr, which is in the state of remembrance. For if a person remembers while he's what? While he's fasting, then of course, by all means, one has to what? Abstain from food and drink and anything that means food and drink. And anything else that will what? Render his fast invalid. But if he's in a state of what? It's the opposite of remembrance, which is what, everyone? Forgetfulness. Then his fast is still valid as long as he's in that state. He's in a state of forgetfulness, then what? And he falls into something that will break it, then his fast is still what? Still valid. The last condition, what did we say, everyone? What was the third one? What was the last one that we mentioned? I said ilm, dhikr. Third was what? There's a third one. He said was intent, qasd. So you have what? You have ilm, you have dhikr, and you have qasd. To do something intentionally. To do something intentionally. Those things are covered. If you notice, the majority of all these different masail of regards to fasting, all those play a part in what we're talking about now. If not, probably 90% or 90% of what we're discussing has something to do, whether the person was ignorant of either of the ruling or the time, or was he in a state of forgetfulness, or did he intentionally do it. You'll find that those three affairs, those key elements, plays a very vital role in giving the correct answer in regards to saying whether one fasting is valid or not. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? If people are too tired, we can stop. I'll stop. If others is a little bit. I'm in a state of my head hurts, but I'm fighting it at the same time. I'm in an inner fight with my brain. It looks like I'm hurt, but I am in pain. Trust me. But if anyone would stop, we can stop. No problem. طيب. We'll continue a little bit and then we'll stop. Notice that the next hadith, this is in this chapter, is the third. Is the third. It gives an example of the third affair. If you look in your books, look in the next hadith. What does it say? When the authority Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, من ذرعه القيء فلا قضاء عليه ومن استقاء فعليه القضاء. Notice it says that. من ذرعه القيء فلا قضاء عليه ومن استقاء فعليه القضاء. Says it right here. رواه الخمسة. Even though you'll find that some of Ahl al-Ilm say the hadith is da'if, but the meaning is correct. He says whoever's overtaken by vomiting, there's nothing, he does not have to make it up. Then, if he purposely or intentionally does it, then he has to what? Make it up. Which is an example of the what category, everyone? The third. The third. Which is what? The qasd, intention. The intention. One doing it on purpose or intentionally. So you notice in this hadith, the Messenger of Allah said this example of the third, which is what they call qasd. So if one is overtaken, what the Messenger of Allah said, what does he mean by overtaken? For example, you're walking down the street, you smell something very repulsive to the point where it overtakes you in your stomach and you throw up. What does a person do now? Do I continue my fast? Person continues to fast. Why? Because you did not do it. You didn't do it intentionally. However, you took your fingers, took it to the back of your mouth. You did it intentionally. So now it affects the hukum, affects the ruling. Doesn't it, everybody? Now it changes the ruling. So once you did it intentionally, now what breaks the fast? You've done something unintentionally, smelled something that wasn't very satisfying to your stomach or what have you, and it overtook you when you threw up, then like we said, a person will continue his fast. That's what we talked about in regards to the third condition. There's a lot of examples of this. A lot. For example, in regards to when one is asleep, if a person has a wet dream, is that intentional? Unintentional. So a person wakes up, he continue and fast. Of course, the person asks me, do you have to make ghusl? By all means, you have to make ghusl. But, by all means, you have to make ghusl. But he still continues his what? He continues fast. طيب, another example. Person looks, he's very young. And this is a tremendous masala. Shaykh Uthaymeen had talked about this matter. Person is, for example, young youth. He sees one glance at a woman and he ejaculated. From the first glance, not the second. First. It's fast. Is it valid or invalid? Valid or invalid? We said that fast is valid. The first glance, not the first unintentional brief glance. That's what we're talking about. Not the contemplative, long, concentrated look. No. A little brief, by accident, just so happened, accidental, haphazardly happened. Jayid, some people are very strong in their desires. There are a lot of people out there, especially in their youth, in their prime, that they one look, that's all it takes. Spring chickens. Person is in their youth, they have the first, matter of fact, alhamdulillah, he has that first glance, that brief glance. If he ejaculated, then his fast is still valid. If it was a second look and ejaculated, then what? The fast is invalid. Because the first look was for him and the second one was what? It wasn't for him. It wasn't for him. Meaning it was for shaitan. Meaning that was intentional. So in that instance, then the fast would be what, everyone? The second look, invalid. The second look would be the person if he ejaculates. What about preseminal discharge? Preseminal discharge. Still valid. Still valid. Preseminal discharge does not invalidate the fast upon what is the correct opinion. So keep that in mind. It's a lot, like we said, you'll find that these three, having knowledge, doing something in the state of forgetfulness, and also in regards to what intention, something being done intentionally, plays a vital impact and a role on a ruling in regards to one's siyam. So it has to be what person has to be investigated, whether he had knowledge of the affair, did he forget, or did he do it intentionally? Those things have to be investigated before you drop a conclusion. You can't just jump. Well, your fast is invalid. No, Yahi. Did he know? Did he forget? Did he do intentionally? All those things have to be what? Looked at before you can say whether or not a person's siyam or his fasting is valid or invalid. So the next question I want to ask before we get inside the next affair, the next masala in regards to traveling while one is fast. Of course we know, if you look in the hadith on Jabir, if you look in your books, when you thought Jabir ibn Abdullah says, خرج عام الفتح إلى مكة في رمضان فصام حتى بلغ كراع الغميم فصام الناس ثم دعا بقدح بماء فرفعه حتى نظر الناس إليه ثم شرب فقيل له بعد ذلك إن بعض الناس قد صام فقال أولئك العصاة وفي لفظ فقيل له إن بعض الناس قد شق عليهم الصيام وإنما ينتظرون فيما فعلت فدعا بقدح من ماء بعد العصر فشرب. Trend of it. The message of Allah ﷺ that he left on the year of the conquest of Mecca, Am al-Fath, the year of the conquest of Mecca, in Ramadan, until he reached the place called Qura' al-Ghamim, meaning the end of Ghamim, which still is present to this day. It's in a place in Medina called Usfan. It's not that far out. For people who's in Medina and they travel back and forth to Mecca, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Even when I used to drive, when I used to leave out from Medina, going to Mecca or going to Jeddah, you'll find a sign, it says right on the road, Usfan. Qura' al-Ghamim, or Ghamim, is a place, it's close to Usfan. It's on the road to Mecca when you're going from Medina to Mecca. It's not that far. But at any rate, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they reached the end of Ghamim. He says, so the people were fasting. So notice they were traveling while they were what? Which is a clear indication that one can what? He can fast while he is traveling. So it is legislated. In contrast to what Abu Muhammad ibn Hazm al-Zahiri says, from the madhab al-Zahiriyah. For they say it's only permissible. Let me leave this off, for example. I'll get to khilaf. But anyway, so you notice that the Sahaba, that you'll find that they said, in this masala, that they was fasting while they were traveling. So it shows that one can fast while he's what? Traveling. He can fast while he is what? Traveling. What happened to now make them break it? Listen. So when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam seen that they were what? Facing some very severe hardships. What did it say? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam called for a container of water. He raised it up in front of them, and the people were looking at him, and he drank from the container. And it was said to them, it was said to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, verily the people are what? There's still people who are still what? Fasting. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they are disobedient. They are disobedient. Meaning that there was a hardship upon them while they were what? Traveling. And the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also wanted to show them that it's also permissible to what? Break your fast while you're traveling. Even if it's in Ramadan. Even if it's in Ramadan. Because the Messenger of Allah on the year of the conquest of Mecca was in where? Is in the month of Ramadan. Right or wrong, everyone? It was in the month of Ramadan. How long did the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stay in Mecca? Anyone know? When he left off for the conquest of Mecca. How many days he stayed in Mecca? While he did not fast and while he was combining salah. How many days? Ooh, it was way more than that. Way more than that. 19 days. 19 days. 19 days. And also in the Ghazwat al-Tabuk, the Prophet ﷺ combined and shortened the salat for 20 days. 20. So that is to show that was a stronger opinion than what people say, that you only can reach your destination, be there for 4 days, and that's it. Then you have to what? Resume the salat and praying it at every time and not combine them. The Prophet ﷺ was in Mecca for what? 19 days. So that means he did not fast months of Ramadan from almost approximately 8 to 9 days. And he stayed beyond that after Tashawwal, continuing to combine the salat and shorten it for 19 days. So in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ will talk about the affair of traveling. But anyway, this is to show what? How the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, here in this particular instance, then what? While he was traveling, he did two things. In one instance, he did what? He fasted while he was traveling until when the hardship and the difficulty became apparent. Then he what? He commanded the Sahaba to what? To break it. So in this, you'll gather two affairs which are legislated. Number one, it's permissible to fast while you're traveling. And number two, if it's a difficulty, then what? You can break it. Do you have to start fasting, for example, in the travel? Let's just say you already fasted before Fajr. You took your suhoor, you ate your pre-dawn meal, you started now. You started in the city. So you left out, you're in your travel. You're doing a siyam that's obligatory. Can you now discontinue it based upon this hadith? Can you discontinue your fast of Ramadan? Let's just say you started off in the city. You didn't travel yet. You ate suhoor, the pre-dawn meal, suhoor. You ate it, woke up in the morning. 10 o'clock came, we started travel. So we left out the city to now we're in the travel. I have to make that clear. In the travel now. We're long distance. We're remotely left. We're out far distance, whatever. Can I now break my fast? Ahsantu. you can now break your fast. Even if you're in the month of Ramadan. If you're in your travel, you can what? You can break the fast. Especially if there is a difficulty upon one's body or upon his health. So those are the narrations, and there's others in which I'm going to, I forgot my book, I forgot the other one. It's other narrations other than the narrations we're going to talk about, inshallah, how it's permissible to either what? To fast or to what? Break the fast while one is traveling. We're going to discuss those other narrations. There's another narration, we'll talk about that later, but I'm going to read a couple of questions from this book and we'll stop. Question. Some of the people that they eat, this is now, all those three conditions that we just said and mentioned, let's apply it now. There's a question I'm going to ask everyone. Some of the people that they eat, for the second adhan, meaning the true adhan, the adhan for Fajr, they eat while the adhan is going off. While the adhan, this is in a Muslim country, but now we got the phones. But anyway, let's just say a person hears the adhan, and in a Muslim country. Does a person now start his fast and removes the food? Because you see some people when they eat and they hear the adhan, they'll spit out their food. Is that correct? It's correct or incorrect? I've heard because I know people that do this. They'll be eating their food, hear the adhan, to the end of it, right? Is this correct or not? Who says it's correct? Nobody. Alhamdulillah, we have an ittifaq. We have an agreement amongst our brothers. Jade, good answer. So a person now is eating his food, of course. If he's in the midst and he has what is in his hand, of course, then he can complete it. Complete it and start his fast. He does not have to spit it out while he's hearing the adhan or rush to hasten towards trying to discard what is in his mouth in the most quickest manner where he spits it out in the sink or spits it out in the trash can. He does not have to do those affairs. You understand, everyone? For a person now, if he hears the adhan, of course, if he wants just to be precautious, then of course, by all means, if he wants to do that, where he wants to eat before the adhan comes in, by all means, then one can do that. But to now, if he's eating and he hears the adhan going off, then a person does not hasten towards spitting it out and doing those affairs in order to so-called say, I'm trying to be pious. This is not what has been commanded from the message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Question to everyone. If a person has doubt of whether or not the Fajr has came in, is it still permissible for him to eat and drink? He has doubt. Apply the three things that I just mentioned. Which ruling? Ruling of what? Ruling of what? In regards to what? The time. The time. If a person has doubt, wakes up, for example, I woke up, didn't look up the time. As soon as I woke up, I'm all disoriented. Just the first thing I saw, some people just don't even think. It's just give me some water to drink it. Let's just say maybe 20 minutes after the time went off, or the time when Fajr comes in. 20 minutes is past the adhan of Fajr. But you just woke up, you're disoriented, you're not even thinking, let me just grab a water, drink. Totally oblivious to what's going on. You looked at the time, 5:30. Fast or valid or what? Invalid or valid? What do you say, Amir? Never mind. I know what you would probably said anyway. Tayyib. We say that the fast here is what? It's valid. It is valid. Why? Because he's ignorant of the time. If it's in his mind, totally oblivious to what's going on, and he thinks, I still got time. Here, give me that. You understand? Then is what? His fast is still valid. Same thing goes for what? For Maghrib. Time for Maghrib. Looks, he thinks, time, sun is down. Well, this is the usual time we break it. Ate something. The time went up a bit. It went up. It's not 8:10 anymore. It's 8:14. Didn't know. Valid or not? Valid or not? Valid. Why? He's ignorant of the what? And he really thought in his mind, 100% what? Still the time was supposed to break his fast. Is it clear what I'm saying? It's clear? طيب, that's the reason why these three things are important. Ilm, dhikr, qasd. Ilm, dhikr, qasd. Ilm, dhikr, qasd. Knowledge, being a state of remembrance, and intent. Jayyid. Another question. Allergies, here we go again with the allergies. طيب, what about question to everyone? This is a good question. What do you say about the person who is in a country and they don't have no night and day? How's he fast? You guys heard what Abdul Baltan said? Say it louder. Say it again. What do you mean it has no night and day? Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes they go 6 months with it just being night. Sometimes they have, like Alaska. In some months you'll have 6 months with no night either. They just have all day. What does a person do? طيب, that hadith is due to the hadith of the Dajjal. The hadith of the Dajjal. But the Prophet ﷺ talked about that when he appears, it's going to be 1 year, it's going to be like a what? Anybody remember the narration? Like a day will be like a what? One narration says that 1 day will be like a what? Like a month, one will be like a what? Like a year, or what have you. So listen to the fiqh of the Sahaba. He said for the salah, what would be for a regular day, a normal day? What if it suffices for that what? For that time that you say would be like a month or a day? The day would be like a month or a year. So based upon this narration, when the Prophet ﷺ said at the end of it, فَقْدِرُوا لَهُ قَدَرَهُ, measure its distance. Ahl Ilm took from that narration to say, to go now. Apply that on the same country where they have was considered a night and a day. Go to that distance of where the city or the country that they have, which is a night and a day, and use that. And a way to calculate will be a what? A means for you to either fast or to pray. Both. Because not only does a person need that for his fasting, he needs that even more for his what? For his salah. So you look to the country or the city that's close to them as a night and a day, and they will what? Use that. In order to what? In order to fast and in order to what? To pray. Is it clear? Clear or not clear? Jay. Based upon the hadith of the Dajjal. So it shows that our religion is complete. In every way. Right. So now if a person, now let's give another question. Person say, what do you have to fast? Our days are like 18 hours. Well, some of us fast in Britain, in the UK, it gets to the season where they don't break fast till about almost 10 o'clock. And Fajr comes in around 3 o'clock. So it happened a couple of years ago. And Sheikh Ubaid, Fadlilat al-Sheikh or Fadlilat al-Walid, said, Sheikh, we don't pray Isha till about 11 o'clock, almost 11 something. No, they said that they don't break fast until about almost 9:30, almost close to 10 o'clock. They don't break. It was in the UK. About 9:30, approximately 9:30, a little bit more. So you can imagine what time Isha comes in? Then on top of that, they have to pray Fajr around 3 something. So Shaykh Ubaid, Hafidhullah, Fadlilat al-Walid, said that they could combine between Maghrib and Isha. They could combine Maghrib and Isha. So then they could just pray what? Taraweeh at the time for Isha, and that's it. Due to the fact that there's a difficulty. Plus there's a difficulty upon the people. You can imagine now the people Taraweeh, and then they have to wake up, then they have to go to work. There's a great difficulty. So he said that due to the difficulty, they can combine Maghrib with Salat al-Isha. Both. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Due to the difficulty. And that happened about a couple of years ago. Well, they didn't break fast until almost 9:30. 9:30. That's a long time, isn't it? طيب. Question to everyone. Let's just say now a person has to fast this a long amount of time. Does he still have to what? Fast 18 hours, 20 hours. Does he still have to fast or what? Due to the fact that the nights are very extremely short. Does he still have to what? Fast all those hours? Or does he now just go to the closest the closest country which he has considered so-called half a day, which is 12 hours here, 12 hours day, 12 hours night? Does he go by that? Or does he still just have to be patient and put up with the amount of time that is long? Huh? He has to be what? He has to be patient. Good. Good answer. Excellent answer. Jayyid. طيب. As far as what?
Being patient. Long hours.
As far as what?
The narration.
Oh, the hadith of Dajjal, that's only for the people that don't have a night and day. Hadith of Dajjal is only for people who have either just a day or they just have nights. That's it. Or they might have, for example, an hour that's a night or hour that's a day. What do? Or, for example, 2 hours that's a day, or 2 hours that's a night. Then they have to go apply the hadith of the Dajjal. So what a person going to do? They was only 1 hour a day. What, they going to pray 4 or 5 salawat in 1 hour? They couldn't. That'd be impossible. Right, everyone? Not impossible. It could be done, but it'd be extremely strange. For 1 hour, you're praying 5 salawat. Dhuhr, Asr, and Maghrib, then Isha, then Fajr. All in that time. But for that reason, like we said, either they don't have no night, or they have no day, or they have a what? Or it's like an hour, a couple of hours. That's not a night and day. But you even find the great Imam al-Albani was asked the same question. He said, Sheikh, we're in a country where the nights are or the days are very long. Maybe it might even go to what? To the extent of 19 to 20 hours. And our nights will only be 4. Or the night will be only 4 hours. What do we do? He said, be patient with the fast. He said, be patient with the fast. As long as you have a night and day, as the distance of that was a night and a day, even if it's a couple of those hours, be patient with the fast. طيب. We also gave a question. Well, we don't need to ask that. Alhamdulillah. طيب. Another question to everyone. It was... we need to talk about Siyam, about the traveling yet. It's going to be in the next hadith. That'll be tomorrow. طيب. I talked about that before. I asked that question. You guys answered that. We'll stop here, inshallah, because I want to get inside. I want to talk about the hadith of traveling before I start talking about the rest of these masail. We'll stop here. طيب. Any questions about the lesson? Hold on. Mm-hmm. With pre-seminal discharge? Oh, good question. In regards to pre-seminal discharge, we have 3 things that's supposed to come out normally. Everybody, brothers, listen just for a quick second. We almost finished. You have 3 things that emanates from the man's private part. That's normally emanates. Normally. So number 1 is urine. Number 2 is what? Semen. Number 3 is pre-seminal discharge. Urine we know is what? Is najis. Bittifaq, bil-ijma'. This is something that is what? Is najis. It's impure. Does a person have to make a ghusl? No. We know that he just what? Washes his private part and makes wudu, khalas, done. Do you have pre-seminal discharge? They see pre-seminal discharge as kind of like in between. So they say that it's what? We say that a person, if he emanates the preseminal discharge, then what? If he ejaculates the preseminal if he emanates or he releases the preseminal discharge, then what? Then he just clean off his private part, and then he will what? Make wudu. That's it. No more, no less. So preseminal discharge does not necessitate a ghusl. Is it clear, everyone? Preseminal discharge does not necessitate a ghusl. Alhamdulillah, I just remembered. If a person, and this question was even posed in here, I always remember this. If a person is intimate with his spouse, if a person is intimate with his spouse, so a person could use the excuse, well, I didn't ejaculate sperm. But what was released was what? Preseminal discharge. Do I have to make a ghusl? Do we say what? Yes. Due to the fact that the two private parts entered each other. The two private parts entered each other. If it was outside the month of Ramadan, then of course we know that is just normal intimacy. If it's in the month of Ramadan while you were what? Fasting, then now you fell into a major sin. Right? Doesn't matter whether or not you released preseminal discharge or released sperm itself. If the private parts entered each other, then what? Then that's a major sin. Doesn't matter whether or not you ejaculate sperm or you release preseminal discharge. We're talking about if the private parts did not meet. The private parts did not meet or touch each other or enter each other. They did not enter each other. Preseminal discharge does not break the fast. But what it necessitates is what? One washing his private part and just renewing his wudu. That's it. In regards to sperm itself is not najis, upon what is the strongest of Ahl Ilm, in which, alhamdulillah, I studied this matter. It's a shame that I studied this in books years ago with certain people, years ago. From them was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with someone, his name was Abdullah Ubaylan. This was years ago. Brothers probably listening online and knows that they're probably laughing right now. Abdullah Ubaylan was somebody that was strong in fiqh, and he was tall too. At any rate, who got affected by Ihya Turath, threw that money in his face and he done deal. But at any rate, he was very strong in fiqh, and this is where we studied this in some of his books. And we even brought a lot of evidences and proofs, especially in Hassan Siddiq Khan, who's from the ulama of Hind. Make a long story short, sperm is not najis. Sperm is not najis. It is not impure. Sperm is not impure. It is pure. Sperm is what? Is pure. However, it does necessitate a what? A ghusl. But the strongest opinion is not najis. Sperm is not najis. So a person would say, what about when the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wiped it off or whatever? He only did that from that bab of adab, mannerism. It's not mannerism to walk around and you have dropped sperm on your clothes. It's not something that is considered to be good character and something honorable and noble that you're walking around and you have sperm on your clothes. So the Messenger of Allah only cleaned it off from the aspect of what? Of mannerism and cleanliness and hygiene. That's the only reason why he did it. Not because it was what? Not because it was najis. As you'll find that even if you look back to Sheikh Abdulaziz bin Baz, even Sheikh Uthaymeen, and other than from Ahl Ilm, they say that sperm is not najis. You can, let's just say unknowingly, without knowledge, you had it on your clothes while you were praying. Then what? And even if you just say you had some in your pants, you whatever, you didn't know it was there, even if you knew it was there. Let's just say that you prayed with it on. Does it render your salat invalid? We say what? No, it doesn't. Your salat is valid. But however, preseminal discharge necessitates that you just merely wash your private part and make your wudu. That's it. It does not necessitate a ghusl. Okay, everyone? Anything else? Covet is just a form of a remedy, that's all, in which bad blood is released from the body. It's gathered up in the place where you want to be treated, and the blood is taken, and the bad blood under the skin is removed until it's allowed new type of blood to be to now start to regenerate in which he heals, it's actually a healing process to heal whatever you're being sick from. Doesn't matter what it is. And so that was something of a form of a great remedy in which the Prophet ﷺ commanded that his ummah use as a way in order to treat yourself. While you're fasting, that they say because the blood that's taken out is extensive amount of blood. It's actually we would say it's a significant amount that actually comes out. It's a lot, which comes as a result of it will invalidate your fast because a lot of blood was removed. We said two things last class. We said you have two types of categories. We broke this down last class. We said blood that's removed, that comes as a way with we just said the third condition. You intentionally did it, or you did not intentionally do it. See, now there's an example we were just talking about. Let's just say you didn't intentionally have blood removed. How, for example, you walked by a door, scraped it on some glass, cut, blood, a lot of blood comes out. Break your fast? We said no. Whether it be a little bit or whether it be a lot. It's unintentional. Doesn't matter whether it's a little bit or a lot of blood. It doesn't matter. If you had no idea, you just walked on some glass, cut, all this blood coming out, gushing. Wow. Ooh. Break your fast or not? Thought you had the second category, you intentionally did it. No. You had to add some details. If it's a little bit of blood, what do we say? Doesn't break your fast. You go to a doctor, he takes I want a blood sample. A little bit of blood comes out, takes a little prick, whatever, prick of blood, a little small sample of blood. Breaks it? No. If it's a lot. If it's a lot now. Exactly. Now if he said it intentionally, if there's a lot of blood removed, then it does break the fast. Does, if it's intentionally done. Intentionally. You went to what? You went to the doctor in order, let's see if your brothers are paying attention, to have your tooth pulled. Tooth pulled. Break your fast? However, you went to the doctors to have a blood transfusion. They use you, you're the donor. You're the donor to one person that needs a blood transfusion. You're the donor. Does it break the fast? Because you intentionally do it. You're saying, yeah, take the blood. It does break the fast. However, here you're commanded to break it. Because it's a matter of what they call darura. It's a affair of life and death. So here you would break your fast and you will what? Aid the person. But still broke your what? Still broke your fast. Because blood transfusion is a lot of blood. So that's the reason why you'll find Ahl al-Ilm say intentionally, if a lot of blood was drawn out, and by your intent, it what? It breaks it. It breaks it. Whether or not you're sinful or not is another matter. Here in this matter, you'll be rewarded because you saved somebody's life. But you still have to what? You still have to break up the fast though. You understand? But you're not sinful. But you'll be rewarded. But still breaks the fast. You understand? Still breaks the fast. Because there's a lot of blood that was removed. But if it's something that was ignorant that you did not know of, you were aware of, it doesn't matter, it doesn't break your fast. But that's what cupping is. Cupping is just removal of the blood as a means to cure yourself of certain ailments and certain sicknesses and illnesses. That's it. That's what cupping is. It's not really famous here in America because America doesn't want people to be cured. They want them to stay sick. Oh, they starting to bring it back now? Oh, who did it? Oh, Michael Phelps did it, the swimmer? Now everybody's doing it now. Muslims been doing it for thousands of years. Now because somebody non-Muslim who's a famous athlete, is he an athlete, right? Swimmer. Now he's a famous athlete who's a swimmer. Now everybody is riding the wave now. Absolute nonsense. Olympic cupper. The Muslims been doing it for thousands of years. I had it myself cup a couple of times. I think I got myself cup about 5 times. got myself cupped here, I got myself cupped on my knees, and I got myself cupped right here for my eyes. I got it cupped a couple of times. My knees, and it all worked. Because my vision is still good, even though my head bothers me from time to time.
For a woman that's on her menses, like we know she don't fast, she don't pray, but is it still permitted for her to feed a person?
Say one more time, Jamal.
For a woman that's on her menses, we know she doesn't fast or pray, but is it still permitted for her to feed a person? And then like once she gets off, she makes it up. Like is it permitted for her to feed a person?
Just out of just sadaqah, or for particularly because she's broke her fast, because she's mincing. She's just doing just out of free, just to. You get my question. Now I'm asking you a question. Is she just doing it out of kindness of her heart, or is she doing it to make up, to utilize that as an expiation? As a not expiation, as a fidya. I have to translate fidya. As a compensation for that fast. No, she can't do that. As long as she has the ability to fast, she has to wait till the mens goes off, then fast. After the month of Ramadan is over.
She's on her menses.
Mm-hmm.
Then is she permitted to feed someone for that day? Like the days that she missed, like for each day.
So I think the question he's asking is, if she didn't do it like that, does she believe that after fasting is over, she has to make up the fast and feed someone? Is that the understanding?
Are you saying she has to feed during the fast, right?
No, she don't have to.
After the fast is over, if she didn't do it then, she still got to feed somebody after it's over, or no?
The hukam, I understand what you're saying. The hukam is she doesn't have to feed. All she would just do is make up the day. That's it. No more, no less. She don't have to feed. As long as she has the ability to fast, she's just fat, make up the day. Now she's just doing it out the kind of her heart because I want to do extra D for Ramadan, no problem. That was what I was trying to say. No, but is that obligatory upon her? No. No. Fadal.
To my understanding, you can't eat after a day you call for fajr. So, just to be correct, it's not until the sunlight come up. It's the day.
Not actual sunlight, but when the actual time when fajr starts. We know that sun doesn't just pop up. It just starts off a bit and then it goes up. Once that time starts, then that's when you have to stop eating and drinking. Not when the actual sunlight is appearing, but actual, the white thread, exactly. The white thread, when it starts to start, the actual day. That's when a person starts his fast. You understand? Yeah, but we don't have a first of that and second of that here. We don't have that here. Anything else, brothers? Anything else about the fasting? Anything else about the lesson? Hold on.
He with the people fasted till he came to
Qura al-Ghamim.
He didn't call for a cup of water which he raised for the people and then he drank. He was told afterwards that some of the people had continued to fast. He said, those are the disobedient ones. Those are the disobedient ones. You know, because he's saying that if he broke the fast, and then everybody else continued to fast, it was time for the fast to be.
No, it wasn't time.
It wasn't.
If you notice in the narration, what does it say? It says after Asr. So it still wasn't time yet. If you notice in the book, look at the book. It says after Asr. It says Ba'at al-Asr. So still was the time didn't come in yet. So still daytime. Still broad daylight. So what was taken and derived here is that they were what? Traveling. So in the month of Ramadan. They were traveling. So the Prophet ﷺ, in the midst of while he was fasting a fast of Ramadan, took a container of water and drank it in front of the people. So what was taken from that is that, number one, if he's traveling, you don't have to what? Fast. Even if it's a month of Ramadan. But you have to make it up, of course, after the month is over. You have to make it up. But you'll find that the reason for why he broke it was because it was a difficulty upon the people. If you go back to the explanation of the hadith and the conquest of Mecca, while they traveled, it was very hot and they were finding great difficulty. Because if you notice in the narration, what does it say, Abdul Batin? Notice it says in the book, what does it say? He said, verily fast has become difficult upon them. Does it say that? You see it? He says, حتى بلغ هؤلاء. He said, ثم الشرف قيل له إن بعض الناس قد شق عليهم الصيام. شق عليهم الصيام. Siyams became difficult upon them. You see it? So here's I'm looking right at it. قد شق عليهم الصيام. You found it? They didn't put it in the English. That was a key point right here. قد شق عليهم الصيام. It just became difficult upon them, and they're waiting for you to see what you would do. So it says they called for the container of water after Asr, and he drank the water. What's that mean? Prophet ﷺ came with two things. If one was to fast, he can fast while he's traveling, and if he wanted to break it due to a difficulty, then he can what? Break it. We'll also get to the narration. We'll talk about this tomorrow. I'm going to get a little bit more details in this. Now let's just say there isn't no difficulty. Can you still break it? So that's what I will talk about tomorrow. You're traveling. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Tafadal.
The ones who didn't break their fast was disobedient. Was he saying it was disobedient because they didn't follow him in breaking the fast?
Exactly, because they were facing difficulty. The fast was heavy upon them. When the fast now becomes heavy, you guys are getting me silent. What we're going to talk about tomorrow. This is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Like you see, now y'all forcing me to get into it. Tomorrow, inshallah. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Stop biting your nails.